I'm not letting you take me to jail.
Duly noted.
Milo! Oh, wait! You have got to be kidding me!
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 haters turned lovers in movies.
Good talk, you know what? Get back out there, have some... What the hell was that for?
I don't think I've ever had this effect on a woman before.
And what effect do you think you're having on me?
Mr. Burgundy, you are acting like a baby.
I'm not a baby, I'm a man! I am an anchor man!
For this list, we'll be looking at those film couples that went from wanting to kill each other to being willing to die for one another. We'll be excluding animated couples as they could warrant a list of their own. Which big screen couple was really unexpected? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Tristan and Yvaine, Stardust. Some romances are written in the stars, while others involve one. In the magical world of Stardust, Tristan sets out to retrieve a fallen star to impress his crush, and that remains the same even after the protagonist learns that the star has taken the form of a young woman called Yvaine.
You're the star? You're the star? Really? Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I had no idea you'd be a...
Surprisingly, Yvaine is not too enthusiastic by the thought of being used as a gift, and Tristan chaining the star up does not help matters.
But of course! Nothing says romance like the gift of a kidnapped, injured woman. I'm not going anywhere with you.
These two could not have gotten their relationship off to a worse start, but a near-death experience and a helpful pirate send Yvaine and Tristan down a different and far more magical road. Number 19, Woody Dean and Nell Bedworth, It's a Boy-Girl Thing. There's no relationship so strained that a good old-fashioned body swap cannot fix. It's a Boy-Girl Thing centers around two neighbors, Woody and Nell, who are complete opposites and cannot help but argue about everything.
Neanderthal?
Spaz?
Toad?
Skank?
Their toxic dynamic is annoying enough to prompt an Aztec god statue to take matters into his own hands and force them to swap bodies.
We need to talk.
While Woody and Nell initially react to the situation by trying to sabotage each other's lives, the teenagers eventually grow to appreciate and even love one another. It goes beyond the cliche that opposites attract, as Woody and Nell learn to look beyond their respective outer shells. Number 18, Johnny Castle and Frances Baby Houseman, Dirty Dancing. The power of montages and 80s pop tunes should not be underestimated. Baby and Johnny come from different backgrounds, and at the Catskills Resort, they are not meant to mix. Although their first meeting is relatively cordial, Johnny is far less willing to accept Baby when she replaces his usual dance partner for an important show.
Johnny, you're a strong partner. You can lead anybody.
But you heard her, she can't even do the merengue. She can't do it, she cannot do it.
After some intense training, a classic song, and an iconic lift, Johnny begins to think differently of Baby. Before long, the two have developed a strange love that transcends class and leads to one of the best moments of their lives. Number 17, Mike Chadway and Abigail Abby Richter, The Ugly Truth. Whether arguing on live TV or kissing in a hot air balloon, Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler are never anything short of electric. Abby is a romantic who is desperate for love. Meanwhile, Mike takes a more sardonic and calculated approach to relationships.
Okay, let me help you out here. You might as well face the fact that you're going to be alone and stop pining away for some fantasy guy you're never going to get.
How can you possibly...
Hey, Lassie, the show's called The Ugly Truth. If you can't face it, don't call.
When the pair end up working together, Abby and Mike's strong natures and contrasting perspectives spark a predictable contempt for each other. The Ugly Truth plays up to gender stereotypes quite a bit, but Abby and Mike are such aggressive personalities that they shine as enemies and also as lovers. Number 16, Eric Messer and Holly Berenson, Life as We Know It.
What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
Sometimes all it takes for a couple to realize they're meant for each other is a fatal car crash, an unexpected baby, and a sprint to an airport. Connected through their close friends, Holly and Eric would have gone on hating each other from a distance if they had never found themselves suddenly acting as guardians for the same baby. After disliking each other while under the same roof, Eric and Holly begin to form something akin to friendship that would eventually give birth to a new family. Number 15. Ronny Camerari and Loretta Castorini, Moonstruck. Cher, Nicolas Cage with a wooden hand, and New York City. Moonstruck is rom-com royalty. Believing herself to be unlucky in love, Loretta decides to settle for Johnny, but things take a turn when she meets her future husband's angry brother and experiences passion once again. In any given scene, Loretta and Ronny are equally as likely to argue, kiss, slap each other, or head to bed. Sometimes they will hate and love each other in the span of a minute, and it is all convincing.
I'm in love with you.
Snap out of it!
Moonstruck manages to be eccentric and heartfelt, two traits reflected in Loretta and Ronny. Number 14, Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, and Rey Skywalker, the Star Wars franchise.
You still want to kill me?
That happens when you're being hunted by a creature in a mask.
Over the course of 3 movies, Rey and Kylo Ren go from violent duels and forced mind reads to close partners who are willing to die for each other. Despite being on opposite sides of a galactic conflict, Rey and Ren form a deep connection not only because of their Force bond, but because of their shared loneliness, as they both seek to better understand their places in the universe.
Rey, I want you to join me. We can rule together and bring a new order to the galaxy.
Don't do this, Ben. Please don't go this way.
Even as enemies, Rey and Ren have a way of inspiring each other to reach new heights. As a couple, they are simply the best. Number 13, Donald Don Lockwood and Kathy Selden, Singing in the Rain. There's nothing quite like a classic Hollywood musical. A famous silent movie actor with charm and wit to spare, Don Lockwood finds his match in Kathy Selden, a chorus girl with aspirations of superstardom.
Kathy Selden as Juliet, as Lady Macbeth, as King Lear. You'll have to wear a beard for that one, of course.
Oh, you can laugh if you want to, but at least the stage is a dignified profession. And what have you got to be so conceited about?
Although the two have instant chemistry, Don and Kathy's meet cute is fueled by sarcastic retorts and put-downs, rather than googly eyes and romance. While their second encounter involves a cake being thrown, Don becomes infatuated by Kathy's independence and strength. It's not long before Don and Kathy are singing to each other and making hearts flutter. Number 12, Phil Connors and Rita Hansen, Groundhog Day.
Okay, we'll try it again without the sarcasm.
We got it.
A sarcastic weatherman, Phil Connors is not easy to get along with, as his producer Rita Hansen knows all too well. However, when the pair of them are stuck in Punxsutawney on Groundhog Day, their animosity is destined for change, although it takes a while.
Do you ever have deja vu?
Didn't you just ask me that?
Phil becomes stuck in a time loop, repeating the same day over and over. During his time spent in Groundhog Day, Phil falls for Rita, and during several loops, he romances her. But it isn't until he finds true happiness and love for her, and she for him, that he's able to escape and start a life with her.
You're here.
I'm here.
Number 11, Sebastian Wilder and Mia Dolan, La La Land.
All right, I remember you. And I'll admit I was a little curt that night.
Kurt?
These two struggling artists definitely don't get off on the right foot. Their first meetings occur during very stressful moments for each of them, causing them to feel negatively towards one another. However, Mia and Sebastian's continued run-ins cause them to discuss their passions, acting and jazz respectively, and their passion for each other blossoms in turn. In the end, what brought them together serves to break them apart though, as their pursuit of their dreams leads to their breakup, even if their love endures.
I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Number 10, Declan O'Callaghan and Anna Brady, Leap Year. What happens when an idealistic stager from Boston must travel across Ireland with a gruff innkeeper who needs some cash? Forced together out of necessity and nothing else, Anna and Declan have to tolerate each other until they get to Dublin, which proves hard to do when their trip meets one disaster after another.
No one touches the music!
As they survive all of the mishaps and inch closer to their destination, Anna and Declan grow more comfortable with each other. However, any budding feelings of romance are pushed aside in favor of what's safe and familiar. Ultimately, Anna realizes that maybe Declan is who she needs in her life.
I don't want to not make plans with you. I want to make plans with you.
Number 9, Nicholas Devereaux and Mia Thermopolis, The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement.
I loathe you.
I loathe you.
Political intrigue, a royal wedding, and Julie Andrews. The Princess Diaries 2 has it all. Genovia's princess Mia is required to pick a husband to stop Nicholas Devereux from seizing the throne, although the young lord's actions are primarily driven by his uncle. Charismatic and funny, Nicholas does catch Mia's eye, but the princess understandably finds it difficult to trust someone who is vying for her crown. Removed from his uncle's influence, Nicholas proves himself to be distinguished and kind, and it does not take long for the guy to become enamored by Mia's compassionate nature. Number 8. Andrew Paxton and Margaret Tate, The Proposal. Occasionally on film, blackmail is just a step on the road to love. A powerful editor-in-chief who does not care much for her subordinates, Margaret treats Andrew, her assistant, without even the slightest hint of common courtesy.
I do think you order the same coffee as I do, just in case you spill, which is in fact pathetic.
Or impressive.
Be impressed if you didn't spill it in the first place, and remember, you're just a prop in here.
Don't say a word.
In response, Andrew hates his boss, something that does not change after the two get engaged so that Margaret would not be deported. Andrew and Margaret spend the first half of The Proposal stuck in a power struggle, but a trip to Alaska and a near drowning experience opens their eyes to the fact that they are more than just tools to be used and discarded.
Turns out it's not easy to ruin someone's life once you find out how wonderful they are.
Number 7. John Bender and Claire Standish, The Breakfast Club.
You Richies are so smart. That's exactly why I'm not heavy in activities.
You're a big coward.
In fairness to these two, you don't really expect to meet someone in detention. Each of them is guilty of judging each other, as well as their fellow students, by stereotypes. Claire is the spoiled, rich, popular girl, and Bender is the delinquent. The latter lives up to the label by generally being a jerk to everyone around him, particularly Claire, whom he drives to tears several times.
So you just stripped to the things that you know. Shopping, nail polish, your father's BMW, and your poor, rich, drunk mother in the Caribbean.
However, as the detention wears on, they get to know each other better, and come to understand why they are how they are, ultimately finding common ground and a budding attraction. Number 6. Benedick and Beatrice, Much Ado About Nothing.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
No matter the adaptation of the Shakespearean comedy, Benedick and Beatrice have plenty of animosity for each other. A lord and a governor's daughter, the pair of them have a long history of engaging one another in insults, pranks, and other amusing embarrassments.
Scratching could not make it worse, and for such a face as yours were.
Well, you are a rare parrot teacher.
When their friends conspire to get them together by causing them to overhear of their supposed feelings for each other, their witty barbs take on a greater undercurrent of affection and they eventually marry, though there are plenty of witticisms before they get there.
Peace. I will stop your mouth.
Number 5. Joe Fox and Kathleen Kelly, You've Got Mail.
Oh, you poor sad multimillionaire. I feel so sorry for you.
Kathleen Kelly owns a small family bookstore, while Joe Fox owns a larger chain of stores, one of which opens up close to Kathleen's. Although they hit it off well before she knows who he is, upon discovering his identity, they quickly become enemies, disagreeing with each other and trying to outdo the other through their businesses, with Kathleen eventually forced out of business.
How can you forgive this guy for standing you up, and not forgive me for this tiny little thing? I'm putting you out of business.
Yet they're also falling for each other while chatting online through anonymous emails, which Joe eventually discovers. After trying to improve her opinion of him, Joe reveals who he is, leading them to start a relationship.
Where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney tops.
Number 4. Patrick Verona and Katerina Kat Stratford, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Are you following me?
Kat Stratford is an antisocial loner, whose father bars Kat's sister Bianca from dating unless Kat dates someone too. This leads some guys to pay bad boy Patrick Verona to pursue Kat.
Do you even know my name, Screwboy?
I know a lot more than you think.
They're initially quite hostile to each other, verbally sparring with one another. Despite Patrick's efforts to win her over, Kat starts to warm to Patrick, and he begins to genuinely like her, beyond the financial motivation. Although Kat breaks it off when she learns why Patrick started dating her, her feelings remained, and they ultimately reconcile.
You can't just buy me a guitar every time you screw up, you know.
Yeah, I know. But then, you know, there's always drums and bass and maybe even one day a tambourine.
Number 3. Harry Burns and Sally Albright, When Harry Met Sally,
is that men and women can't be friends because the sex part always gets in the way.
When Harry met Sally, they didn't get along at first. Harry's bluntness and sarcasm clashed immediately with Sally's proper and high-maintenance nature.
You're the worst kind. You're high maintenance, but you think you're low maintenance.
I don't see that.
The duo argues nearly every time they encounter each other over a decade or so, though it becomes increasingly good-natured, to the point where they become friends. However, Harry holds that it's impossible for men and women to have true friendships. Despite dancing around one another, setting each other up with their friends, and even sleeping together, they take a long time to realize their love for each other. But Harry and Sally manage it, making for one of the better romantic comedy pairings ever.
3 months later, we got married.
Yeah, it only took 3 months.
12 years and 3 months.
Number 2. Han Solo and Princess Leia, the Star Wars franchise.
I don't know who you are or where you came from, but from now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
She's a princess and a leader of a rebellion against a tyrannical regime. He's a smuggler, a rogue, and an all-around nerf herder. From the moment these two meet, they can't help but bicker with each other, no matter how dangerous the situation they're in.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder!
Yet, their attraction is equally as irresistible.
I love you.
I know.
The tension between them gradually leads to a kiss, as well as several memorable declarations of love.
I love you.
I know.
Despite separating sometime after having their son, it's clear these two love each other quite a lot, and their belligerent romance is among the most beloved in cinema.
If you see our son, bring him home.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet, Pride and Prejudice.
At this moment, it's difficult to believe that you're so proud.
At this moment, it's difficult to believe that you are so prejudiced.
Any list of the greatest haters-turned-lovers needs these two on it. Other entries on our list reference them, and they've even directly inspired characters like Bridget Jones and her own Mark Darcy. Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy both dislike each other when they meet, and harbor misapprehensions about the other's character. Despite their growing attraction throughout the story, their pride prevents them from admitting it to anyone, especially themselves. Ultimately, Darcy's selfless help in Elizabeth's family crisis leads them to finally admitting how they feel, turning their hate into love and into one of fiction's greatest romances.
And how are you this evening, Mrs. Darcy?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.